Hi, welcome in everybody. It's Paint with Josh. I'm going to teach you how to do an aurora borealis seascape, a northern lights painting. And the very first thing we have to do in this literally every single step video is take our liquid clear. This is from the Grumbacher's brand. You don't have to use the Bob Ross brand all the time. We tend to go back and forward. This time we've got our Grumbacher's liquid clear, and we're covering the entire canvas with the liquid clear color. That way it's looking like the canvas is getting more black, right? But it's not a black paint. I get that question all the time. What black are you putting on the canvas? Well, it's actually clear. It's just making our black look like it has a varnish to it. So it's getting deeper and darker. And we need to spread out this clear paint as far as we can possibly spread it. You do not want it to be thick. You definitely don't want it drippy down there like that. So let's get rid of that old thing. Make it all nice and wet and slick. It's the only reason why we do this is because we need the canvas to be slippery, right? And if we can put this clear paint and spread it out far enough and thin enough, it will make our canvas nice and slippery. Now, you may notice that we stopped right along the bottom. That's only because I've got a lot of snow from my last painting right there that would have tried to turn my white canvas kind of grayish. My black canvas kind of grayish if I were to hit that with my brush. So, try to keep the black canvas dark. That's why we're painting on black canvas, because we want it to remain nice and dark black. Now, do you see any spot where I might have missed? Because you got to tell me now. Sometimes I can't see these things. So you got to tell me, is the canvas nice and evenly spread all the way across, all the way back and forth? Have we missed a single place? You got to let me know. I'm going to put that stuff away. And then we need to remove the excess paint, right? So we're going to fold a paper towel into a square, right? You guys see it? You see the top? I don't see any missing places, you guys, seriously. We're gonna come over here, we're gonna wipe it with a lot of pressure. This is going to take away all of the excess color that we don't need, right? Or the excess base layer, that clear color that we don't need on there. We're gonna remain all of that, and then whatever's left, it's gonna be just about perfect to do what we wanna do. Now I'm gonna do a seascape with our northern lights, sort of surrealism, right? I actually went down to the coast to try to see the northern lights over the ocean. It was just so cloudy over Florence and Eugene. There was just no way of seeing the northern lights when I went down there. But I'm going to paint it like I would imagine it might have been, right? If I had seen it in its entirety. Now, if we're also going to do that, okay, let's decide. Actually, we might have started too low, in fact. Okay, if we're going to go, let's do big crashing wave, but let's put our eye of our wave right here. Then we're going to put a bit of darkness over the top of that, and that way we'll create our little horizon. Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. In any case, take a little bit more of our crimson paint, right? And underneath, not too far under, we want to leave a gap because we're going to put our darker color in there. Just going to place in a little touch of our phthalo green color down here, okay? Then we're going to put our purple by the time we get down there. And in fact, let's do it now. Let's take our purple paint. Let's place a lot of that purple right into that phthalo green, kind of let them mix back and forth, saving a little bit of each color and letting them blend together in the middle, okay? We know we're also going to take our purple. We're going to put it up underneath the eye of the wave and into the crashing areas, sort of pushing that phthalo green back, right? Right here along the edge. Again, we're going to blend it, blend it, blend it. We don't want it to go too far up into the eye of our wave. And then we also have to have a separation between the sky and the eye. So now you see that little bit of darkness back there. That's going to be our back ocean. Then we'll have the eye. Then we'll have our little crashing area. We've got a little touch of that purple down here. We're going to put brown at the very bottom. And yeah, let's actually do that now. Let's take our Van Dyke brown, the deepest, darkest brown color that we like to use. We're going to cover the entire base, and we're going to spread it out very thin. Let it intermix in with that purple paint that we put out there as well, right? All it needs to be is a darker color that we can ignite by the time that we get down here with our water, right? Now we have to wash the brush before we go back up and finish our sky color. We've got to wash off all this darkness, right? Batman. So let's come over here. I get that the most often. People are like, oh, this dude sounds like a Joker. I don't hear it. I don't know. I've seen the movie. seen the movie like once. I don't hear the Joker when I speak. I don't hear it, but apparently everybody else hears Heath Ledger's Joker when I speak. Don't ask me why. I'm just saying that's what they hear out there, right? So you guys check in. Let me know where you're watching from. And we're going to go into our Madder Carmine color, which is the crimson color from Meeden. It's spelled M-A-D-D-E-R, Madder Carmine, right? Out there in the night. Now, we don't want to let the green and the Madder Carmine color mix in too much. So I'm going to leave a little blank area in there. We're going to allow that color to blend up and out and crazily out there into the top. Then we're going to come back in with that purple. So we've got to seal the edges and fill in wherever is not painted. Now has to be filled with that purple color, just in case we accidentally go across an area that we're not supposed to. At least there will be some form of paint on the canvas. That's our whole main goal, okay? Now, again, we've got to wash out the brush. And then we're going to start a painting, you guys. So you guys check in. Let me know where you're watching from out there. I like to show you every single step. We call these videos literally every single step, L-E-S-S. Less is more, guys. Less tutorials will teach you more than anywhere else, right? So literally every single step. I used to do all this stuff prior to starting the show, and then we get people ask, how do you do the base? How do you do the beginning? Where do you put the colors? This, that, and the other. So I show you every single step out there in the night. Okay, let's get over here. Let's do this one a little bit differently than we did the last one, right? Just to show you there's different ways to do it because the auroras look differently all the time. So what I'm going to do, in fact, ooh, check this out. What if we grab, we're going to switch back to our big old 2-inch brush. We're going to get a little paint, whoop, right there, a little bit. See how we only really fill the top one corner of the bristles? We're going to get out here, load up that tiny amount of paint, barely even see anything on the brush, right? And then we're going to come out here. There it is. Look at them ignite. The more white paint that we put up here, right, the more bright it's going to show those colors. So if it continues to get brighter and brighter, that means I have to come back here, dab off my brush on a paper towel so that there is not so much color on it anymore. And then I can mix it in with the rest of that stuff, right? So you guys chap on the screen and do all the other stuff you guys got to do out there to help me reach a few more people. All right, we'll take this down and down and down very lightly, mixing it, allowing it to mix in and mix in and mix in, and just having this little bit of difference out there, okay? It's all we really need is a small amount of difference out there to make anything look like anything. Now, what if we came out here and just launched in just this little crazy old line, okay? A little small amount of paint. We come out here and we drag that guy up. So there we go. Right? Very slightly dragging up on the paint. Not doing too much, not trying to do too much anyway. We need to have a little bit of our darker base color, correct, underneath that lighter bit of color. And then we have to have our auroras stand out. I'm trying to get the bottom of that color. There. Now, let's come in and do the same thing to the top, okay? Meaning I'm actually going to use my smaller brush because I don't want to get down too close into this, guys. We're going to a little touch of our titanium white. Again, we don't even want to have too much onto the brush. And let's go light up. If I know it's going to come down here, right, it's going to light up an area, what I think it might look like. And then I'm going to push harder and extend that paint and let it grow outwards. Maybe it grows down over here. Maybe it grows up into that purpley color. Because again, it's not the aurora. It's just a little bit of background paint, a little bit of background color in our sky, right? And we're deciding how far it goes, how bright it gets to be, all dependent on us. If we mix it up a little bit more, just kind of spin it up with our little guy, you'll have a softer deal out there, right? We're just putting a little bit of background color into our sky, blending it out softer and softer and softer. We don't want to intermix them too much, right? Because then they'll all disappear. Now we can come back in and put a little detail in there. Okay, so what if we came down like this guy, right? And in the night, let's actually do it this way so you guys might be able to see. We'll start over on this side. Let's creep it up and over and down and up and weird and out into the night, right? They came down like this. In the reference photo, I was literally looking at it. In the photo, kind of laid on top of each other like that. So we can come in here, push it, and the paint will interact with whatever color is underneath it. So the more that we drag, right? The further it's going to extend, the less we drag, the less it's going to extend. The brighter it might stay because we're not mixing it over and over and over again as we're tapping it in there. And then we don't have to even pull it everywhere, right? It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to do anything that we don't want it to do. It can start going over here and getting more and more and more faded out, right? All up to us, guys, seriously. What do we want it to look like? Maybe now I want to have this guy dip down. Maybe we'll make him a bit brighter, right? Popping in a little bit more paint. Maybe it came up there, maybe it flattened off. Who knows? Who knew out there? Because it's all up to us, right? Literally take it, extend it, following along our lines, kind of gripping the top, leaving the base down there, right? Extend it, pull it however you want it to be. Seriously, it is up to us each time that we go to do it. Every time that we paint one of these things, it's up to us how it's going to look. And every time we can do it just a little touch different, don't you think? Those little differences that we do each time, don't they make it look that much cooler? What if we just connected our little spot right here? And again, it doesn't even have to connect all the way to the side. It doesn't. It really doesn't, but I wanted it to. There we go. Fabulous. Remember, the more that we play around with the paint, the more that we add to it, the brighter it's going to get. And the more it's going to take away the focus from our foreground of our painting, right, which is going to be our oceany stuff that's happening down there. The more it's going to take away from that. So don't play around with it too much. Grab it from the top, go all the way down. It'll clean up any bits that you have on the bottom, right? We're not really pulling it. We're just kind of grazing across the paint. Leave a couple little electromagnetic spikes coming down like that. Isn't that so cool? Literally, what do you want it to look like? Do you want it to be brighter in this one spot because it wasn't so bright to begin with? Right? We get to decide, and we can come back, and just by adding in a little teeny tiny little thing, right? You get to change what it looks like every time, you guys. Seriously, what do you feel like it should be? What if we had one little smaller guy? Maybe he's way off in the distance back there. Just a little guy, very small, thin amount of paint. Okay, very thin, very small amount. Come back in there, drag him up, just extending it, right? Sometimes multiple times in the same spot to get that look that we're going for. Because it's up to us, and we can control how far it goes down, how bright it gets, all these little things out there, right? The little differences that are up to you every single time. Fabulous. Goodness gracious. Okay, now let's get out here. We're going to throw in our little ocean scene. That's the next best part, right? The ocean scene that's about to drop out of the old brissies. Well, the old palette tool anyway. Now remember, we have a dark purple horizon. We have our phthalo green, so that kind of greeny color eye, a little bit of purple, a little bit more phthalo green and purple, and then brown along the canvas. So if you're just watching this, just tuning in and wondering, how is he taking white paint and applying it to a black canvas and all of these colors are appearing? I'm going to tell you to check out my my tutorials that I have over on my tubes. You guys know the old tube. Everybody knows the tube over there. I've got so many tutorials. I'm talking about more than 2,800 videos over there for you to watch, right? We're going to scrape down on our titanium white so we have a nice clean blade, almost like we're wiping it off. That's how hard I want you to scrape down on it. That's why that way when we scrape in here, we have a very, very, very small little bit of paint. Can you see that small little roll on there? That's what you want to have back here. Now remember, my sky, I can decide if I want to come way up here and just be just underneath the lights, I could, but I don't want that. I want to have a little bit of light underneath, and then we've got our area. So I'm going to come about just halfway, just about 3/4 of the way across the eye of our wave, and we're going to touch the canvas just like this. And we're going to start kind of just like a robot, or like some gears clicking down, over to the side, back, over the side, down a little bit, over the side, down a little bit, down, 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 like a Z shape. Right? You don't want to have your color or your triangle that we're making be too severe in its downward angle, right? It doesn't have to get crazy. It can be very flat. We can even change the angle by just adding a little bit more paint, making it less severe of a deal, right? We don't have to have so much color or so much brightness all the way in the back of our horizon. So don't ever worry about making it bright back there. It's more important that it's bright up here and kind of fades into nearly nothing into the background. Now, if you have a lot of paint up there and it's very heavy, you can come back with your fan brush Just flatten it down a little bit, okay? You might like the heavy look, but the heavy look so far away, since this is the furthest thing away that we're gonna paint, is going to clash with the heavy look in the front. So soften it back there a little bit, okay? Then what we're gonna do is take the fan brush that we had, grab one little sneak of our titanium white paint. We're gonna come over here, excuse me, and we're gonna make a little, almost like a treble clef, just real small though. We don't need it to be real crazy. It almost looks like a little swimmer. You guys know what I'm talking about. We all learned about it back in health class, the little swimmers. Right? Looks just like that. And we only put a little bit of paint up there and almost leave a bigger gap than you need because why? Why do we only put a small amount up there? Because when we start to mix it, like we're mixing up chocolate milk and we start to stir it, it's going to extend and start to grow on us, right? So depends on how I want to be. If I want to take this paint and push it up underneath that guy, I can get up here and just kind of vibrate my brush a little bit and grab it and push it and push it and push it and take it away right before I hit that other bit of white color, right? Then I can turn my brush downwards at an angle and only use the top corner. Remember, like I'm stirring up milk, but never stay in the same place, right? Kind of move it, come over there, almost like we're making a circle all the way around the thing each time, letting it get softer and softer and softer as we push on it and push on it and push on it, right? And then we can decide how dark, how bright we want it to be, all up to us, okay? This is that very transparent part of the water where it gets very thin as our water is crashing over this way. It gets very thin. You get that gorgeous eye of the wave. So what does your eye look like? Up to you. How many times do you got to go back in there and make it yours, right? It's up to you each time. You don't have to go all the way to the edge, please. Especially if you're this far out in the middle of the camera. Don't go all the way to the edge. Now, what we're going to do is follow along this guy and imagine he's got to go up and then roll over, right? Not every time do you have to paint the rollover section. A lot of times that gets hidden behind our next step. Remember, we're doing these things step by step, so it may not look right or look like it is what we're doing, you know what I mean, to you right now, but the more that you stick with us, the more it's gonna work like that, right? So again, we're gonna take a very small amount of paint, maybe a little bit bigger this time than we did last time, and I'll show you up close. Looking just like this, right? And we get all that stuff right there. There we go. So it's got a little bit extra paint than we had last time. Then what we're gonna do is we're going to imagine this guy's going to roll up a little bit just over the top of the horizon, right? And then we're going to turn the angle of the brush. See what I mean? If I wanted this angle right here to be flowing upwards, my handle is down here, but if I want to be flowing downwards, my handle changes direction over to the side, right? So once we roll up and we start to figure out where we're going to roll over, leaving about 1 finger's worth of space in between those two bits, right? We go up, go over. We're almost starting above our horizon like that, tapping down, tapping against the canvas, and we're making a very shallow U shape, very shallow, right? Almost like a little parentheses, very shallow shape. Doesn't come down so severely. It's not a V, right? Very shallow in its moment. Now, what we've done, wiped off our blade because we've attached that paint by tapping it, tapping it, tapping it. Only worried about what the top line looks like because the bottom we know we're going to mess up. We've left, in this instance, 2 fingers worth of space in between our spots right there, right? And all I'm going to do is, this is allowed also to grow to this side, but all I'm going to do is touch it and streak it over to about 6:30, not 6 o'clock, okay, 6:30 on your clock, maybe even 7. And the more that we go, the more we're going to change from going from 6:30 or 7 on our clock, and then we're going to go click, 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 hang on, click, 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 all the way up to 9, okay? So we're going to be working in this area of our clock if that was the center, okay? So this next one, I can't go down to the same spot. I've got to go a little further over to the side, and then a little further over to the side, and a little further over, and a little further over. By the time I'm over here, we're almost going to 9 o'clock. You see, I'm trying to overemphasize them so you can see, but do you see what we're talking about, right? Now, in this instance, because we got a little too far away, what if we attach another little bit right there and start to roll it over and get less and less and less and less, right? Because it's falling less over here. It's falling more over there. I can always go back and attach it, and we're just floating the blade, right? See, I'm not pushing on it. I'm not, smushing it against the canvas. We're just floating it. We're hovering above, and whatever paint comes off is what comes off, right? Got to have a little bit of brightness on the top. Got to keep our separation in between. And remember, we have one more thing to put in between there, so don't let it get too close. I'm telling you, I've been telling you. I do need one secret ingredient, though, and I am going to show you what it is, okay? We don't have any secrets around this show. So let me show you up close right here. There we go. So this is our Bob Ross Liquid White. It is an oil blending medium, right? A very, 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 very wet version of titanium white. And how you make this, if you wanted to make it at home, you take 50% big, thick, crazy titanium white, 50% paint thinner, and you mix them together until it's very runny, right? And we're not talking watery, but thicker than milk, thicker than buttermilk, like just thick, right? The thick, watery substance versus these thick kind of paints, which are more like cake icing or frosting, right? Much more frosting like. This is much more drippy, okay? So what I like to do is I have an old lid, right? It's just an old lid, and I wonder if I can do this without spilling, my goodness. Every so often, come on, get it, get it, get it. Every so often, we fill up our little lid so we have some liquidy paint that we could stick a dirty brush into, right? I don't want to stick a dirty brush into my fresh jar, but I wouldn't mind sticking a dirty brush into this little petri dish, which is what I call it. Because I'm telling you, by now, something's growing in there for sure. For sure. You remember that from science class? You get the petri dish, right? Okay, now what we're going to do is dip into that little petri dish, even with my greenish color paint on my brush. We're going to get a little bit of that watery-ish paint. We're going to come in here and we're going to mix it with our titanium white, just right on the brush, right there, just until it's about like a 50-50 mix. You're going to judge, like that little sneaker right there is going to try to mess up our painting, but we're not going to let it. Right? So you're going to be the judge on how wet it is. Let me tell you how it's going to work both ways, okay? If it is too wet with the liquid white mixture, it's going to spread too far. It's going to move too much. It's going to grow and extend too far away and not have any detail in it because it's too thin, right? If you have too much of just pure titanium white, it's not going to look like water. It's going to take more force in order to blend it, which is going to make it extend again, right? So you need about the equal mixture of your liquid white and your titanium white. Just tapping it on, and that's how I kind of judge is right there. You see those little marks in the paint pile? That's how I kind of judge that we've got about the right amount of consistency. Then what we're going to do is right along the top of this color up here, right? So along the top edge, we can start little tap, 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 taps, getting bigger and bigger. We've already gone to top of above our horizon. Then I like to turn the brush, tilt it a little bit towards the canvas like we're doing if we had a plate full of fruit and we tilted it towards the canvas, all the fruit would fall off, right? And then you can give it a little smack, a little schmack, a little schmack, schmack, right? Boom, right there, right above the tip top of our peak of our wave. Then you instantly have to drop down into the barrel, man. Down in here, keeping a separation in between the bright color and our bright color, and then between this bright color and that bright color, okay? Then we're gonna come down here and smack. Now I tend to do it quickly, but all we're doing is smacking against the canvas, trying to keep a small little bit of our dark separation up there as well, and then going through the wave and getting taller and bigger and splashers and kaboosh, right? How big is yours getting up there? How much brightness are you popping up there? Do not get too much lower than the bottom of your eye, only remembering because this is going to grow, right? So it doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't matter how many bits, how bright, how thick, how many, whatever. Seriously, it doesn't matter, okay? Now, I'm gonna ask you the question that I used to ask all the time. Does this look like water to you? Would you leave your painting looking like that? Because honestly, I used to think that looked watery, right? Back in the day, when I had done like 400 paintings, I was like, man, this one looks like some sweet watery marks, bruh. Yeah, you guys think yes? A lot of people think no. Okay, let me show you how we paint the water now. And this is why we got to have that 50-50 mixture, okay? And this is why we leave the separations. We're going to take this paint with about 4 of these bristles. I'm talking literally, right? This many bristles, like, honestly, that many we're going to try to touch the canvas with, okay? That way, this paint won't grow down into this spot, and it won't overtake this thing, and it won't overtake this thing, right? And what we never want to do is stay in the same place for too long. So as we start, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 swipes, just like we're stirring up milk way back here on the fork, not down here, not like this, right? That's too much pressure, too much movement. Back here, now, okay. Have you ever gone into the kitchen? Maybe somebody's asleep. Maybe you just had an argument and your significant other is asleep on the couch and you're like, damn, I really want some chocolate milk right now. Like, I'm really going to hit the spot, but I don't want to wake them up because then that might start a thing, right? So you're going to go mix the chocolate milk as softly as you can so that you don't clink against the glass or the cup, right? So think about how softly you have to spin the brush to not hit your fork against your cup as you're spinning up your milk. And yes, use a fork. It helps break up the syrup easier, okay? We're going to come over here, tilt it away from the canvas so we can only contact about 4 bristles. Go 1, 2, 3. I didn't even really touch it, but 1, 2, 3, and then pull it away and see where it goes, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. All right, we're extending, we're getting closer, but we're also keeping that dark separation in between. 1, 2, 3. Let it stop, right? 1, 2, 3. Stop. 1, 2, 3. Stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe if you get as good as old Paint with Josh, you can go to 4, right? But as you can see, we're not just staying in that same place. We're not stuck in one spot. And even if, so say if I had a spot right here that I didn't like, I'm gonna go across it once, then I'm gonna go over here, then I'm gonna come back and try it again, then I'm gonna go up here, then I'm gonna come back and try. I'm not just gonna stay in that same area, because if you just stay in that same area, and as you can see, we kind of come up and we drag it down, and we come up and we drag it down, and we come up and we drag it down underneath. If you stay in that same spot, it's going to over mix. Now look what's happening, right? All this is doing is softening it. Unless I push it hard enough back here and underneath here to almost over mix it where you can't even see anything that's happening and leaving a couple light areas and a couple dark areas. Now, don't you think that looks a little bit more like you're crashing watery, right? You let me know. Just let me know out there. Everybody has a different opinion on what water should look like, right? So let me know. In the night, I'm gonna do a couple more little, just a cleanup spot up here, and a couple more little white random areas, right? Not connecting them all, not doing anything, and then I'm gonna come back with just a few little minor swipes, just so I have differences in there, guys. You need to have the differences in there, because if you don't have the differences, it's all going to be the same, right? Now, if you have the proper angle coming down here, it will tell you exactly where to put your next line of water, okay? You have to imagine it like a big S. If you turned your head on the side like this, can you see this big S shape right there? This long S. It's going from the top right there, right? Turn your head on the side. Look at your phone. Do you see an S? Just let me know. Or am I the crazy one? It's a very long, stretched out, very thin S shape, right? But you can see it. I can see it. Perfect, okay? That is going to be helpful. You do not want to have your wave just go straight off the side, because it just doesn't work, right? It's not help. That's why we make a little triangle, right? Can you see the triangle? You got your short edge, your long flat back, and then this little thing, right? It's not obviously not a perfect triangle, but that's going to help it look more perspectively correct and tell you where to put the next thing. And I'm going to show you how. Excuse me. Oh, little toots. No, I was blowing my nose. It is ice cold, by the way. Literally ice cold out here in Oregon. And the fog is so dense tonight. There's crazily dense fog. Okay, so now we are going to take that wettish, like 50-50 mix of our titanium white and liquid white. We're going to pull that guy down. We're going to scrape up a little bit of it. And we're removing it from the palette, attaching it to our blade. And then if we make a straight line, okay, a literal straight line from here right across our canvas, right? It should cut through the eye of the wave, and it should cut through the bottom of our water, okay? This straight line is telling us that we need to start our next line right there, right? So if we come in right there on our next line, then your wave is going to be more perspectively accurate, right? We won't get lost. You ever got lost about where to put something? Oh, where's the next one go? It's literally telling us go straight across, right? So we take our blade, go straight across, start right there, start cutting into it, right? Sliding in just bigger versions of our clicks. Remember how we were up here making little click, little click, little click? little click all the way down. So these ones are a little bit bigger. We can go a little further. We can dip down a bit further. We can go up a little bit further. We can come back down. We can do whatever we want. And if you leave any little bits back there, it's going to be helpful, right? So the only thing we're really worried about is starting up at a higher angle, ending down at a lower angle, right? Now, obviously, your wave can't come out here and just crash right on top of the lip of its own self. So we need to drop it down, but at least it gave us an idea on where to put that thing in the beginning, right? Now we can drop it down and we can extend it out, pushing that paint and forcing it down, down, down. Because the more that you have in front of it, right, the further back it's going to push your wave. 6, 7. Over here, if you have kids, you'll understand. Over here, right, the more we do, so we can extend out further, we can drop it down, and everything else has to come down and get further and further and further down, which will make parallel train tracks right there, right? So if you were to imagine having this line and this line, we should not have to change it too much, right? They should be pretty parallel, and you shouldn't have to move them too much, okay? That's gonna help you make better waves, guys. I'm telling you, especially these waves where we can kind of see down the barrel, down the pocket. Now, did you see what happened right there too? A little silent trick that I'm about to reveal to all of you, right? If you're up here, you're going to drop off a small amount of paint, and then it's going to eventually run out. There will be no more left, right? The further we go, the more we have to crank down and change the angle on this thing to access more of the paint back here and smush it onto the canvas, okay? So again, it's never just, we're not just robots like not being able to move and change angles, right? We got this little gyroscope on the end of our arm over here called a wrist and a hand, and we can do wicked awesome things with this action. You just gotta know when to change it, when to move, when to do things, right? And that's what your old pal Paint with Josh is here to do for you guys. Remember, you don't even have to fill it in all the way. If you leave some black spots back in there, that's gonna be awesome looking, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is wipe off our old brush. And remember, you can grab this painting if you go to pwj.info. So I'm telling you, it sounds weird, but that's where you gotta go to check it out. And it'll take you right over there. You're not gonna see a photo of this, right? Because we haven't finished painting it yet. We're not done yet. But you will see painting number 2158. That's this guy right here. Now, I've wiped off my fan brush, so it's nice and clean. And we're going to basically, remember how we were working from our 6 o'clock or 6:30 to 9 o'clock over here? We're going to be working from noon to 3:15-ish, maybe 3:30, right? Or 3:30 up to noon. Now, what I mean by that is as we start dragging out our paintbrush, they're going to be very flat, like we're going out here to 3 o'clock. And then the more that we click in, the more that they are going to rotate. But they are not a solid straight line like this brush handle, right? So we are not going to make diagonal lines like that into our wave. You have to imagine like you're on an airplane, okay? What happens when we're on an airplane? Do they just rev up the engines and then all of a sudden we go from this to this and we're like, poof, just right up into the air? No, right? We roll down the runway, picking up speed, and then we rotate slowly, right? So if you think about that guy like a little airplane, you got to run down the runway and then rotate up into your wave, okay? So when we very first start it, we come out here and we're pulling literally directly off to 3 o'clock. And each time that we step, we're moving backwards, right? Each drag starts from a new place further back along our edge, but you can even see even halfway back, we're still pulling sideways, okay? You only start rotating or clicking upwards and changing your angle when you get in here, right? That's when you're really gonna be severe. Everything out here can be nice and flat, right? Just barely, you're taking off. That's a nice takeoff right there. Going down, taking off, right? Now, if we get inside here, our hand is going to start making a smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller circle, but only using the paintbrush in this area of the canvas, right? We do not want all this brightness to come up and hit all this brightness. There must be a little section of darker color. That is why we put the purple underneath, so it starts to dull that bright color down into a shadow. And now as we come back, we're stepping back further, we're going down the runway, and then we're taking off. And each time we're getting smaller and smaller and more severe in our thing until we leave like a little golf ball, ping pong ball sized area down there of untouched paint, right? Untouched canvas, just black, deep, dark, right? The light can't shine all the way down to the bottom. It's only creeping through right here where it's thin. So you have to leave an area. That indicates that the wave has so much force that it is casting itself. Oh, look, I'm creating my own shadow right there. We're casting ourselves over. It's not just like, imagine if you had a bucket of water, right? And you go to throw the bucket of water. It's not just going to come to the edge and go boom and dribble outwards, right? It's going to launch that water as hard as you tossed it, right? So imagine all this toss has got to roll the wave, right? Casting it outwards, which would leave a dark area in the center that is constantly getting more and more twisted up like that. But isn't that cool? Isn't that wicked what you can do with just a couple paints, couple brushes, right? I'm telling you, it's insane. Now, we can determine how we want our foreground watery, shiny area or tumultuous, foamy area to be, right? We can determine that, but we have to have the right mixture of paint. So we're taking our liquid white paint and our titanium white paint in about a 90 to 10 mix. So we have 90% liquid white, 10% titanium white inside of our pile right here, right? And then we can come out and we can start to pop out little things, little details. Maybe leave a little blank spot, right? Because you never know what it's going to look like until you get out there and do it. And not everything has to all be the same. We're going to make this guy kind of extend down a little further and a little further with each one, right? Because now that we know our shape and we've got our color, we can then make the front as much or as wild and crazy as we want it to be. We can also go back and swipe over it with our fan brush, right? And especially down here, right? And no longer horizontal like that. We're almost turning it at this downward feed of an angle. And that way you can pop out that little ridge right down there in the front, that extremely bright little ridge down there. Just looking amazing, you guys. How many cool little bits do you want to have in yours? How much room is there between us standing back here on the beach and the wave, right? That is going to be different for every person on Earth, is going to be able to see it differently and paint it differently. So don't worry about it too much, right? Now, we always, at least I always try to at least skim over some of those things so they're not so severely bright and dark. And if I felt like I needed to, I could fill it all the way in, right? All up to me on every single painting. How am I feeling that day? You know what I mean? Do I want to show a lot of stuff? Do I want it to be soft? Do I want to then take some of that brightness and feed it upwards? Maybe, maybe not, maybe, right? I want to then attach right here and kind of line up with some of these guys, like we're rolling over, the water's not all so disconnected, right? Up to me and what I do, how bright I make it, up to me, right? All these things, you guys, you can do them, I swear. Okay, let's get a little bit more of our liquid white, a little bit of our titanium white again in a 90-10 mix. Boom, boom, boom. So if I got a big pile of liquid white, I need a little bit more titanium white than normal because we got a big old pile down here. Now remember, we've got the teal and the purple and the brown underneath. So what we're going to do is come up underneath our guy and literally pull downward, right? We're not smushing on the whole thing. I'm kind of scraping it on. You can even hear it. Right? As long as I leave a little gap in between these two colors, because they're so similar, right? That if I were to allow them to touch, I might not be able to tell the difference between them. I might not be able to tell what is land and what is water. Remember, it's not just up to you painting it, it's up to who's looking at it. And you might not be able to reach that person and say, oh no, yeah, that was supposed to be sand and that was supposed to be water. They're just gonna look at it and go, you know what, I don't like that. And then they're gonna scroll past and never come back. You know what I mean? So we have to control how much paint that we put up there, what it looks like, this, that, and the other. And as long as we don't cover everything, then we should be okay, right? So again, as we start getting closer to the end, you guys got to start coming up with a title for this painting. What do you think it might be called? We're going to sprinkle on our water details and then our sand details after we do this spot, right? So up here, this, when we do tend to go viral, it's because I'm asking you right now in the comments, answer me now, does this look like wet sandy beach Just yes or no in the comments below, right? Do you think that looks like sand? If not, tell me what you think it looks like and try not to grab your wave like I just did. What does that look like to you? You tell me what it looks like. God, that's a cool looking aurora sky. Not yet, they say. No, looks like a waterfall, a cliff, waterfall, cliff, waterfall. I feel you guys. What about the ice wall from Game of Thrones? Yeah? Yeah? No? Okay. What we're going to do after we pull down these guys, because we get waterfall a lot, but what happens if I pull with all the same force to turn all those vertical streaky poos into horizontal streaky poos? Does this look like a lot more like that wet, sandy-ish, shiny-ish area, right? Where the water's come in, it's kind of interacted, it's left its little foamy little deal, and then slid back out to the edge. Yes or no? In the comments below. And the more white that I interact with that brown, the brighter it becomes, right? So if I need to, I can go back in with that dark brown paint and then push that wetness back. Say I put too much paint out there, right? It happens sometimes. Sometimes we put out too much paint. Right? But what about now? What about now? Does it look more like that wet, shiny-ish, shandy-ish area out there? And the more that I intermix the brown with the white, the more it's going to become all the same. Become nice and soft. Look at that, right? Woo! Fabulous. If you don't believe me yet, just stick around for this last thing. All we're going to do is follow along our little bluey brown outline, basically, right? Doesn't have to match exactly. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to match our wave in the background or whatever. But now tell me, does that look more like that reflective, shiny area of our beachy sand? And then we're going to come back and shrink down this little detail here, okay? You can see the difference. We've got a large section of shadow, and a small section. Which one looks more realistic? Which one looks more better? More betterer, right? The one where we have less of a shadowy thing underneath, right? Now, again, you don't want to let these guys come down and touch too much, because then it's not going to look like a shadow. It's going to look like the sandy reflective area. So you have to retain that small little bit of darkness out there by scraping the paint that's there or adding the smallest bit to your blade, scraping it down over that dark shadow. See that little darkness in there? Little dark little line in there? That's what you want to have. Especially if you can push hard enough to get a little fat, white little ridge of paint out there to look like some waterline. Now, you might be looking at it going, well, the front of it now looks extremely bright, right? Well, what we're going to do is brush back the very front, trying not to touch the lip so it blends away. It is supposed to be a little bit brighter than the rear of the painting, right? But look at that, dudes. Tell me that's not cool. You can, because it is cool. It is way cool. I never thought I was a cool guy. Like growing up, high school, I was not like part of the cool crowd, you know what I mean? And I didn't even do art or anything back then. I might have actually had more, like, you know, more girlfriends and more friends if I had done art. If I was able to paint like this when I was in high school, oh my goodness, that would have been amazing. But this took me until I was 34 years old, which was 6 years ago, to be able to learn how to paint this way. And I've been doing it for the last 6 years to be able to teach you how to do it with such ease, right? Now, this part down here does not have to look the same. It does not have to be as thick. Remember, it's just a couple bubbles and some fish pee that got left up there and pushed forward, right? So all we're gonna have to do, streak back just a little bit. There we go, right off the front of the lip. And again, pull it sideways. We are not pulling it up to the wave. We're not pulling it vertical. Remember, or think about it like this. Have you ever been on a ski lift or a gondola ride in the sky, right? Your ski chair or your gondola has to stay level, right? Has to stay level. Otherwise, we might fall off the thing, right? So even though we're going down this very slight little angle of our ski lift, either going down or going up, right, from the bottom up to the top of the mountain, we have to remain level with our strokes. So don't try to pull them this way or that or whatever. Don't. I've done it. And I'm here to tell you it doesn't end up looking the way that you think it's going to look, right? Because we're looking at the wave down the barrel, and you can see how some of it's a little heavier, some of it's a little less. That's awesome. This is so realistic right here because it happens like that out there. It's not all the same, right? Please tell, I mean, you must know that it just Mother Nature is just not all the same, right? And our poor little human brains, they want to paint everything so that it looks equal, right? Don't let your little human brain trick you into making mistakes, okay? Because it looks better when it's more wild, right? Now, here's our last and final steparushki for you guys. So you got to start coming up with a title. And like I said, if you like this one, you can get it. It's available for you. It's findable, as I say. You just have to literally go to your, go browse a little, right? You go to the browse and you put in pwj.info and it'll, right there, you hit go, it'll take you right there. Very first thing you're going to see when you get there, right? Now, once we get our liquid white from our fan brush onto the blade, not vice versa. You don't scoop up a whole bunch of the liquid white and then start flicking it off. That's going to be just drastically too much. Okay, so we dip in very small amount, tap it onto the side of the blade, and then we're going to drag the bristles through the blade so they will bend backwards and launch out paint with every spray. If we're really close, it's going to be a very small, very tight bit of spray. If we're back further, it's going to spread out further, right? So we're going to come in here, going to hold it very vertical, going to give it a couple little flicks right off the top, just a couple. Don't do too many because it starts looking really cool, but don't do too many. Right now, because the water is being thrown this way, right, we're going to rotate the blade. We're going to start sprinkling out little bits, little bits, little bits. Now, the more paint that we have here or still trapped in our brush, and the more force that you push through will launch out more paint, okay? If your brush is too overfilled, you might start launching out streaks of paint, which do not look good. Remember, always throw a couple out of the barrel because it puts a little bit of distance in between where the water is throwing out and the back wall of the wave, right? So always have a couple coming out of your barrel. But doesn't that look like splashing, crashing water now? For goodness sake. And remember, never stay in one place. Don't just stay there and spray and spray and spray and spray and spray. It's not going to be good. You got to move. You got to move. Man, isn't that the coolest thing? It is gorgeous. Now, normally, because there's so much light in the sky during an aurora, you would not see stars. So do not sprinkle stars up there. But you can take the same brush, the same amount. I didn't even add anything extra. I'm going to come down into my sandy area, and I'm going to start flicking. And you can see these billion little white specks. I'm also going to flick a little right in there just so they reflect the specks above them. Right? This is a reflection. These are little sandy sparkles. Maybe they're little seashell bits, or they're just getting caught by the right light. Look at that, you guys. Isn't it amazing? They're perfection. Guys, so you start coming up with a title for this one. You let me know what you want to call it, right? Let me know what you want to call it. And like I said, if you grab it during the show, you get to pick the title forever, right? If it doesn't get grabbed during the show, that's okay as well, right? But we need to come up with it as a group. So let me know, what would you want to call this little painting out here in the night, right? Let me know what you think. I'm elated. I mean, I'm so excited to hear what you want to call this little painting. And remember, if you want any details going backwards, okay? Any details going backwards, make sure they're straight off of the edge, okay? So even if they're out here, they're straight lines, little things, right? We don't need too many. If you put too many things back there, it loses the reflectiveness and makes it more like this stuff was, where it's very heavy. And that's not what you want. It's not what I want anyway, right? But again, if I want to get paint up there, I'm not going from here to there, right? That would be bad. Josh will yell at me if I do that. I got to go horizontal and take it back, right? Horizontally and take it back to wherever it wants to go. And remember, don't do too many because you're going to dislike it. It looks gorgeous the way it is. And you do too many things and you don't like it. I'm only telling you from experience. I'm telling you from experience, guys. Legit. And remember, if you want to follow along with a Paint with Josh video, you do not need every brush in the book. You do not need every color known to mankind. Okay? We normally do paintings with 5 or less tools. and about 7 or less colors usually for every Paint with Josh painting. So don't think, oh man, I've got to go get all these brushes and all these colors and blah, 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 blah. You really don't. You need a few brushes. The right ones are very important, but you only need a few of them, right? And a few colors, literally. You don't have to have, I never use all 14 colors in one painting, never, ever. Okay, we're gonna get out here with our liquid white on our liner brush. This is the Paint with Josh liner brush. Very fancy, very long liner brush for fine details. And we're gonna come out here and throw in the old signature, and you gotta make the noises, guys. You already know it doesn't work if you don't make the noises and just go caca. Just launch in these crazy old birds out there. Yeah, that's wicked cool. Man, I love this painting. I love this painting right there. So we're going to sign it. Remember, like I said, if you grab it, you get to title it. If not, then hit me with your favorite title. What do you think this one might be called? Let me know in the mints below right now. And very easily findable. Like I said, if you want to grab this one, you guys know where to go. The mods are telling you. They're telling you. You know how to find it. You already know. Yes! Holy cow, there's 20 people over there. So if you think you're looking at it by yourself, boy, Hardy, I'll tell you, there's 19 other people looking at it with you. So if you're on the fence, I would jump off rather quickly and grab this painting, because you never know how long it's going to last, you guys. I'm serious. I'm being super serial. Sometimes they'll go just right, like as soon as you're just about ready to hit the button, someone else will get it. So you gotta hurry. You gotta hurry over there. Whoops, there we go. I'm gonna wash off this last brush, and then I'm gonna be looking for some titles and reading out some comments. Yeah! So type it in. What do you want to call this painting? Let me know. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Yep. Still 20 people over there, dudes. All right, let's see. Crashing Aurora, Aurora Waves, Midnight Tide, Celestial, I like that. Crashing Celestial Sea, Crashing Aurora, Ocean Light, Night Light, I like that one too. Aurora Mists, Midnight Ecstasy, Night Light, that's cool, I like it, I dig it, I dig it. Celestial Lights, but sea as in, you know, like the ocean. Okay, keep hitting me with your titles. There we go. Now at least I can be on the right side of the camera and see what you guys are saying, right? So, Nightlight is wicked. Let's see, Baja Blast Crash. Hey, don't unfollow me. I don't like Baja Blast. That's just, I know I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I love Mountain Dew. I love the Mountain Dew, the orange one, the Live Wire. Oh man, couldn't have enough of that stuff. But Baja Blast, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't know why. Oceans, let's see, Aurora Spray, Surfing in the Night. You guys are funny, man. Aurora Wavialis. That is going to be impossible for old dyslexia over here to spell. Let's see. Northern Lights by the Sea. Can I get a screenshot? Go ahead. Go ahead. You, better than a screenshot would be if you follow me on the book. I take the picture, like a nice high-res photo, and then I upload it right to there. So if you wanted to sneak it from me, that would be the best place to get like an unaltered, you know, in the right lighting and having it look as best as possible. Follow me on the book, and that's at official Paint with Josh, all one word, official Paint with Josh over there, and you'll see it right after we finish the show. So give me some chitals, guys, with a CH, chitals, like YouTube. Give me some chitals over here. Wicked Sky, thank you, I appreciate it. Let's see, what you see is what you get, like the oceans see. I feel you guys are excellent. Surf's Up, I like that one too. Romantic Waves, Life's Reflections, dig it. Midnight Walk, that's a cool one too. Tides of Light, excellent, guys. Waves of Northern Lights. Heavenly Show, Skay and Sea Symphony, right? That's it right there. Noah's Last Night. Oh, he was about to part the sea. I feel you. What would you chidle? Somebody wants their mod ship taken away. What would you chidle this painting? You guys are hysterical. Seriously. Oh, then she unpinned it real fast. Cosmic Tides is cool. Where do you go get it? So, who's that? Prettier in Polish. I said Polish. Prettier in Polish, because Josh can't read. My name is Paint with Josh, right? If I wanted to go find something on TikTok, I would go to TikTok.com, right? So if I wanted to find something to do with Paint with Josh, I would go to Paint with Josh, right? If we say the words out loud, and it's not saying, because I can say TikTok.com a million times, right? TikTok.com/PaintWithJoshK. That's my handle right here. If you say anything else and put those words in front of it or after it, they try to get you. So that's where you go to get it, right? Or you can literally type that and then hit go, and it'll take you right to the thing too. Now, you will not see this painting over there because we haven't finished the show and we haven't taken a photo of it. But the one you're going to want is literally surrounded in a yellowy, greeny, orangey highlight thing, right? It's a picture of me inside of a frame, like a painting, really nice ornate frame. That's going to be this painting. It's $21.58. It's not the cost. That's the number of paintings we've done in my career. 2,158 paintings in my career. So if you want this one, did you get it? Harley says, I got it. Let's check, yo. Let's do a little check skis. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so since Harley, since the name doesn't match up, can you just can you give me the last 2 digits of the zip code that matches right there? So in my instance, it would be 02 are the last 2 out of the 5-digit zip code that we have, right? So if you can let us know, and then if they can pin that so I can double check. Let's see. That's it, Harley. I appreciate you, Harley. You're awesome. So guys, now Harley has to come up with the title. So guys, flood her with the titles, right? Whatever she decides it should be called is what it's going to be called. And now I don't have to make the decision. So thank you for taking the pressure off of me, because I always get like all these things, and then I know people watch every night and they comment every night, and I'd never chosen their title before, and it's not up to me. I don't like it to be up to me, because then I can say, oh, I didn't pick it, they picked it. But you know, I don't know. I just don't like it to be up to me. So you guys hit Harley with your titles and let her know what you would call this painting, and then she gets to decide, and whatever she says goes, right? And I'll pop it onto the painting, and we'll be all Shadowrooski for the evening. You guys have been amazing tonight, I'm telling you. Did I tell you, by the way, after 7 straight losses for my daughter's volleyball team, which I am the coach of, 7 straight losses, 7 straight. From the beginning, we have not won a single game until today. Oh, it's fantastic. They played so well. They got, and they were so happy when they finally won a game. It's like, like the pressure has come off. We finally won, so whoop, I know, right? I was so happy. So, Harley, pick a title. I've got everything. I just got to wipe this thing up over here. And then we're ready to go. Go home and walk my doggies. The doggies! Do you ever get home? Do you make like funny noises and weird? You just talk weird to your animal, or is that just me? Because when I get home, I'm like, "Who the babies? Who the sweet babies? Let's go for a walk, you babies. It's a sweet baby. What the sweet babies? I know, right? That's me when I get home, like literally every time. Thank you, I appreciate that. A little boop, I appreciate that. But does anyone else do that? Or is it just literally me? Right? Am I the only one? Literally? I'm the only one in the world? Okay, thank you. Finally. I was going to say, my dog just ran. Right? So that's how I talk to my dogs. So I'm glad that attracted your dog to come into the room. That's actually really funny. But yeah. Harley's night stroll. That's a cool one too. Your sister does that. I just can't help it. I'm like, oh, I did it, a sweetheart. I could have never met you. You could be like the biggest, burliest, like biker dude, like a big beard, and you walk up and your dog wants to come say hi. Man, oh, the sweetest little baby. Oh, like that's me. And then you look up and you're like, oh yeah. What's up, dude? How's it going, man? You got a cute dog, bro. Thanks. Like, I don't know. They do something. They do something. You do that with your Great Dane. That's awesome. That is awesome. Your dog jumped up by your side. The little bees. Little poochies. It's, they love it. They love it. So, what do we got for a title? Lucy in the Tides with Titles. I like it. Okay. Oh, shit. I'm going to kick the bucket. Okay. Yes! What a night. This one came out amazing. Much more realistic in the color and the orientation of the Northern Lights. Absolutely fabulous with the titles over here. Who was that? Christina Chordine decided to put the title up there. That's very cool. So, I've had a lot of fun today, guys. Seriously, it's been an awesome day. Awesome day. We got to talk to little pooper babies. Oh, the pooper babies. Oh, the poopers. Right? Don't add. It's supposed to say original. I don't know what it says. Don't look at it. Don't look at that one spot. What are we painting? Number 2,158 paintings. Calling it what now? Lucy in the Chides with Diamonds. Can I put chides in the chides? Lucy in the... Let's see if she says yes. No? Okay, we'll put ties. That's fine. Now, it's already been decided. Lucy in the Chides was already passed up on. This was painted on 11/22, 2022. And we're all going to go to this place right here. But like I said, don't watch me write. It makes me nervous. Makes me nervous when you watch me write something, you guys. Right there, very easy. My penmanship is not very legible, but very easy place to find. To me, anyway. Like if I was like, oh, I wonder if this guy named PaintWithJosh has somewhere that I could check him out online, I would absolutely go PaintWithJosh and hit, you know what I mean? That's just me though. Literally, best you've ever seen. Thank you. We literally have more followers than I can count, firstly. We have over 2.5 million followers, okay? 791 or 2,000. I don't know what we're at on TikTok anymore. 790-something thousand, almost 800,000 on TikTok just by itself. Over 1 million on Instagram, right? 1,072,000, something around. 616,000 over on Facebook. 616,000 over there. 220-something thousand on Threads. Where else do we? Oh, and about 195,000 on YouTube. Just insane. Literally insanity. I never thought. Like, the whole 5-year plan. Everybody's like, oh, what's your 5-year? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Never in my life would I have thought that I would be making a living painting live on the internet, having people like what I do so much that they want to spend their hard-earned kashish on my artwork. Never. Because you want to know why? Because I'm still not an artist. I'm an art teacher, okay? I'm a good teacher. I can teach you how to do anything. If I know how to do it, I can teach you how to do it, right? But I never took a single class. I never went to a single Pinot's palette or a wine and paint or a sip and blah, whatever. Never did a single thing. never been certified by anybody but myself. Literally taught myself everything that I know. And as soon as I master it, I teach it to you guys. So your journey doesn't have to be filled with as many struggles as as my journey has been. You know what I mean? I try to explain it in a way that literally anyone can really, and I say the same things so many different ways. So it clicks with somebody that hears it and goes, oh shit, okay, I get it now. I get it. Right? When I can say that same thing to someone else and they go, I still don't understand. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly finding new ways to explain how to do what we're doing, why we're doing things we're doing. And that's why we literally have the most followers out of anybody who paints like us online. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say it right now. All together, I've got more followers than Kevin Hill, right? Who has more than 1 million on YouTube, which I would just love. If you guys, everybody that follows me over on the Talks, if you would go follow me on the Tubes over there, if we could get those numbers a little bit more like level, that would be fantastic.